thing that's kind of interesting, and this is something that happens all across the country, Mike. This isn't just a Phoenix phenomenon, but it's easy for the aliens, if they were to come down from Mars and try and figure things out, they don't speak English. If they landed in the Sonoran Desert and they went to like Tempe or an ASU football game, it'd be pretty clear to them that this is a great example of this. I fail to understand why when people are going out on the meat markets, and I don't even know if it's a meat market because you meet people there, or if it's like they see each other as pieces of meat and they go to a market and they like want to buy that. For some reason, when people go out to these meat markets, they wear the same damn thing. In Arizona, everybody was like dyed hair blonde. And like I was told, Mike, when I was, 18 years old, so I was already an adult, that most blondes in this country, now brace yourself, most blondes in this country actually are not blonde. There's a few people who, a lot of them come from like Minnesota and Wisconsin and the places where Scandinavian people settle. But for the most part, there are people who used to be blonde when they were a kid and they couldn't handle or come to terms with changing their identity. And so they dye their hair, and they're known by the diesel roots. It's just like this black kind of hair. I mean, naturally they may have brown hair, but for whatever reason, when they dye their hair blonde, you can see this black underlayers. And getting back to the meat market scenario, you got a bunch of blonde girls trying their hardest to look exactly the same way. Right. Then you got a bunch of Goombas, basically, who wear like either baseball caps or they're wearing like the collared shirt because they went golfing earlier today, or in Arizona, it's less like it's a laid back lifestyle. So you don't get all the gel that you get from all the douche type characters you get on some of the coasts, maybe in certain parts of major cities. But, they got the golf shirt, everything's rolling, keep it easy, keep it real, keep everything going. Like those guys look exactly the same. I mean, like maybe one or two pop the collar and maybe one or two wear a pink shirt for some reason to add a little bit of zest. But like, if you're trying to compete at a meat market, why would you wear the exact same thing? I can't even tell the people apart. I go into a place like this, and this is maybe it's an issue that I have, where right. I'm like, look, I actually like people's minds, I like physical beauty and all that kind of stuff. That's great, we all love that. But like, do I want blonde number 2? Do I want blonde number 3? Do I want Goomba number 5? How do you decide? Is it just like who's next to you? Even Burger King and McDonald's have some differences going on there, even though they serve hamburgers.
When you were saying Goomba, is that a reference to Super Mario Brothers? Were those Goombas?
I think those were like Koopa Troopas. I mean, maybe that's what these people could graduate into if they went into the military.
Is Goomba what you're trying to say for like Guido?
They don't have Guidos west of the Mississippi, Mike.
Oh, okay.
In my book, they're called Goombas. Other people can call them, I've heard Chachas. I've heard all sorts of different things for these types of people. But, like, I think Goomba is really good in Arizona. They're like, oh, yo. They're a little bit beefier. They're a little bit more blank stare on their face. They keep things quiet, but they keep things rolling. They keep things real,
But
keep things easy.
I mean, Goomba. There is like sort of a Sicilian word, Goomba, that's like an Italian American who has ties to the mafia or like Goodfellas, But yeah, I'm looking at the Urban Dictionary right now, and they are those little tiny enemies that you meet at the very beginning of the first Super Mario Brothers. Those are called Goombas. But
my point exactly. I think that they look very similar.
They all look the same.
They all look the same.